what nationality are you from? What would you say?
I would say probably. I know I'm mostly all black.
You said mostly black? What did you do, Ancestry.com? Oh, God, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that.
No, I'm messing with you, man. I'm authentic, man. I'm all African, man.
All African? So, I like to talk to people about this. When you say Africa, right? Like, I want y'all young children to listen to this too. When you say Africa, Africa is a continent. It's not a country. You know what I mean? Right. It's a continent with 1,200 different languages, 60 different countries. So what place in Africa do we have? Like where in Africa do we come from?
That's a good question.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Give me Luke chapter 21. Where in Africa do you know? Do you know, sir? Right here. Where in Africa do black people come from? The Israelite people. Yeah. The ones that were brought here in slavery. Which place in Africa do we come from? Huh? You say you couldn't give it. You see why? Even you're not a black man, right? You Arab? Yeah, he's Arab, right? Even he doesn't know. So what we're trying to show you is the person that owns, the people that own this country, that have an embassy in almost every single country in the earth, teach everyone lies. Everyone has been lied to. Let me hold that. Give me Joel chapter 7. No. When we started, we said we're Israel United in Christ. And we're not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Joel 7 and 24. You know what I want. He covered the face of the judges. Because, yeah, you know what I want, man. So, what I'm talking about is a lot of our people say we're from Africa. But we can't even pinpoint the place in Africa that we're from. We don't even know the history behind what we were doing in Africa. We just say that to give ourselves some type of identity. Because really, the root of the matter is we don't know. Read. Job, yes. I'm going to prove that today. Read. Job chapter 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The Bible says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. The wicked is a so-called white man. The one that calls you a terrorist. The same one that says, all they do is bomb people. The same one that says niggas ain't, all Negroes is good for is eating watermelon and chicken. That's the one. The Bible says the earth has been given into their hand. That's why you see they're everywhere. Set up everywhere. Watch your car, 6 man trying to get out. That's why you see them everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like when you go, I've been at St. Thomas, St. Kitts. They're there. Set up in the mountains with huge houses. Why? Because the Bible says they will be given the fatness of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Read. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. The white man has covered the face of the judges. The judges is us. These are the judges. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. When you look at the word Abraham in your phone, let's say you Google it, right? Guess what color the person come up as? A white man. A white man. He don't come up as black. What Google you got? Abraham. You got a phone? Type in Abraham. Type in Abraham right now. Abraham was a black man. We can prove that. You can go to Russia. You can go to Russia right now and see Abraham as a black man. Depicted, written, drawn as a black man. But when you type in Google, who is Abraham? He white. When you type in Google, who is Moses? He white. Exactly. That's why he said he covers the what? He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? If this man wasn't the wicked that the Bible talks about, who is he? The only one that is doing these things is the so-called white man. The Bible calls him Esau. The only one that's doing this stuff are the Edomites. You see what I'm saying? And they know who they are. They can go history book after history book. They know that. Well, you know what? We come from the great line of Esau, the Idumean. They know that. But guess who doesn't know? The only one that doesn't know or care who they are is the black man. I can explain that, yeah. I'll get that after I get Isaiah 1 and 3. You said John 4 and 24? I'll deal with that. So the only one that doesn't understand who they are is the black race. You see what I'm saying? So how do we figure out who we are? How do we, I'm going to show you a little bit of history. Before I get John 4:24, I'm going to show you a little bit of history. Hold that. Give me Luke chapter 21. Why did we come from Africa? That's your question. Why did all people come from Africa? Huh? I'm saying why?
That's what they say. I mean, what they say they originated from.
So who's they?
But I don't want to be filmed.
You good, bro. So who's they? Who's they? You said that's where they say we originated from. Who is they? History. Where you learn history at? Well, who owns the school? Is it your people? Are your people teaching you these things? Even if you have a black teacher, he's not teaching a curriculum that's from his people. His curriculum that comes from the school board. Is the school board your people? No. History, they tell you you're what? You come from Africa. They say life started in 1619. Because when did we go into slavery? 1619. They said the black people started right then and there. But who were we before that? That's what we're about to talk about. Luke 21, where they fled in Africa. No, 21 and 20.
What club was that at?
That was admit that a lot of people don't even realize they.
I've called her. She hasn't responded. I've called her more than a few times.
But the Zulu Nation, I'm like, what the hell is this? I know nobody know what I'm talking about. You'll leave me on the island by myself. I don't know what the hell Bishop's talking about. That's what y'all do. Then after class, yeah, I knew what you were talking about. I just don't want to be caught out there. The hell is this? Get on my damn nerves. So read that again, 31.
Luke chapter 21, verse 21. Then, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with army. So, have you ever been in New York? Have you ever been in New York? Yeah. Have you ever seen that? It looks like an arch. It's like a big arch. You ever seen that? You've seen it. It's in France. You ever seen it? A big arch. You know what that? Do you know what that represents? I'm telling you, white man builds all these statues and stuff and really don't explain to you what this stuff means. You know, you've seen it though, right? You've seen it? The arch. If you just when you get some.
St. Louis.
No, not the St. Louis arch. It's like a huge arch. If you look at it, the New York arch, you'll be able to see it. So that is a monument for the men that did this. Read it again. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with army. The armies that it's talking about is from Titus and Vespasian. Emperor Titus and his prince Vespasian, his son. What did they do? In 70 AD, they besieged Jerusalem. You know what besiege is? When they come around, they stop import and export. You can't bring anything in, you can't take anything out. This is what they did. This is Christ years before that saying, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, read. Then know that the desolation thereof is not. And what you see, because it doesn't just happen like that. A besiegement doesn't just happen ASAP. All of a sudden you see enemy ships. Why are they here? You see what I'm saying? Because we were already under Roman rule. All of a sudden you started seeing Roman ships, more Roman ships than usual. You start to see more supplies than usual. Why? Because they were about to besiege Jerusalem. That's when the Lord said, what you shall see, Jerusalem compassed with armies, read. Then know that the desolation thereof is not. Sis, did you get a flyer? Hey, get that sister flyers there. He said, then you know what? Then know that the desolation thereof is not. Then know Jerusalem about to be trodden down by the Gentiles. It's something about to change around here. Because we used to be able to govern ourselves somewhat. You had Herod that was the king of Judea, right? But we had some type of self-government going with the Pharisees. You see what I'm saying? But when Christ said, when you see the armies compass Jerusalem, then know the desolation is not. Watch what else he told us to do. Let me finish this and I got you. Come on. Verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. What were the mountains? He said, then which are in Judea flee to the mountains, right? Before the armies besieged Jerusalem, he told them to flee to the mountains. What are the mountains? What are they? So if you're in Jerusalem, what will be the mountainous range? It'd be Egypt. Where is Egypt? Africa. So the history is 1 million Jews they listened to Christ. Because after Christ, remember the disciples started building up, they listened. And they ran from Jerusalem. Once they started seeing armies, they said, hey, remember Jesus Christ prophesied about this. What they did, They ran to Africa. They started to establish places like Timbuktu. You ever heard of that? That's an actual place. That's not the place your grandma said, I'm gonna whoop your butt to Timbuktu. It's an actual place. Yeah. We built up a synagogue. We built up all of these different places inside of Africa to where Africa used to be just called Negro land. We had certain parts in Africa. If you look at old maps, you'll see this is the land of Judah. Just black people there. You see what I'm saying? That's why I tell you there's so much history behind our people that we don't know. So this is just a piece of the proof that we fled. Jews fled to Israel. Does anybody got the Zondervan on here? Because when you ask somebody in your church, right, you say, what the African, where do we come from? Because we're not the same as African people. If we were, they would have been over here fighting Esau, trying to bring us back home. We know we're not the same as them. They know it too. Like, the nigga with the nigga. They know it too, right? We're different. We even look different. So, but when you go to your Christian church, you'll ask the pastor. Like I'm talking about the black Christian church. You might be up, I don't know about your pastor, I don't know what kind of church you go to. But the pastor will say, we come from Ham. Some pastors say we come from Ham. Black people. They also say that because we come from Ham, the reason why we're black is because our skin was cursed. Because if you know anything about Ham, he got cursed. That's why they say he's black. That's not true. That's not true. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to make sure you know that you don't come from Ham. Read.
This is the Vondervan Bible Compact Dictionary. The Vondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Definition of Ham, the youngest of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of 8 persons to live through the flood.
This is why everybody says we all come from Adam, because everybody comes from Noah. Remember, in Noah's time, the flood came. Everybody died except for him and his family. So after him and his family got off the boat, Shem, Ham, and Japheth were the fathers of all races. You see what I'm saying? Come on. I ain't get to deal with your scripture, man. I'm sorry, man. All praise, all praise. Read.
He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negro.
What did he say?
Not the Negro.
Ham is not the progenitor of the Negro. So who is? Shem. Because we come from Shem, Eber, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Jacob had the 12 tribes.
That's right.
That's where we come from. We can prove that day in and day out.
What is nation?
Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.